I'm here with one of my clients, Gal. Gal is not only one of my clients, but he's also a cyclist. And so I do a lot of coaching with athletes, and it's a little bit different. It's really fun. Gal, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm 51 years old. I am a criminal defense attorney, very stressful job, and my outlet is cycling. And I am working with a coach that has been fantastic. And part of my training, I needed to change my diet a little bit. And so I reached out to you.
Great. I know when you came to me, you were concerned about NAFLD and being able to perform on the bike. Were there any other things that concerned you?
So I have I suffer from kidney stones, and then I also discovered that I have a light, or not a bad case of a fatty liver, but I have an issue with a fatty liver, and I've always had stomach issues relating to foods that I eat. And I said, okay, this is the time to kind of change my ways and improve my cycling.
Good. And what did you think when you first started with me? Were there things that you thought were easy? Were there things that were hard? Did you think I was crazy?
I think that when I started with you, it was not easy. Okay. I don't think that there were some easy things because I was eating. I'm a carnivore and I like to eat meat. So that was the easy part, eating the meat, because you always advocate for a lot of protein, and the protein comes from meat or fish, at least for me, because I have some sensitivity to chicken. So what was hard was cutting everything else out. And for carbs, for example, just eating sushi rice. And I remember when we first started, you started coaching me and working with me. I was texting you a lot, and I was calling you a lot, and I was telling you it's impossible, and you were telling me just stick with it. And my family made fun of me. And I was using the scale, and I was using cups. But it really, within a couple of weeks to a month, it became a lot easier. And now it's almost a second nature.
Good. And how do you feel?
I feel great. I feel great. Obviously, my body knows when I put something bad in it that does not agree with me. I personally figured out that if I eat something that does not agree with me, let's say for dinner, I might be fine. But if I eat the same thing the next day as a leftover or whatever it is, that's when my body yells at me and tells me, you should not eat it again.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so as an athlete, were you concerned that me taking so many carbs away that you weren't going to be able to perform on the bike? Or was that not a concern?
Well, speaking with you, you knew what what I do, and you knew what my limitations are, and you knew that I needed that extra carb intake. And that came through the rice. So what really was hard was starting to eat at least 2 cups of rice with every meal. Mm-hmm. And at first I said, how can I eat rice? I love potatoes. I love bread. Mm-hmm. I love other things. Mm-hmm. And you just said, just stick with it. So I went out and I bought a rice maker, and it was the best $200 investment I've made. And I went to the Asian market and I bought a big bag of rice, and it's delicious.
Good.
Yeah. And the more I eat it, the easier it gets to eat larger portions too.
Good. And I know we were talking about your ethnicity, Jewish from Israel.
Right.
So rice is not normally something you would eat. Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
More
Yeah,
breads and things like that.
correct. More of the Mediterranean kind of
Mhm.
a lot of vegetables, although my stomach cannot digest them.
Right. We
Even,
talked about that. Yep.
right. Even the chickpeas and the hummus and the pita bread and all that. This is part of my culture, and I had to cut it out. And I remember telling you, how can I cut out hummus in the morning? This is what I love eating.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now that I cut a lot of stuff out, as you coach me through it, I start implementing more things in.
Right. Things that you really like.
Things that I really like. So, for example, if I like to have, two pieces of toast in the morning with my eggs and turkey, I would put a little smear of hummus on it, just for the taste, not for anything else, but for the taste, and it's working just fine. So
Good.
my body knows the limitations of how much. If I go in and I eat a whole bowl of it, I'm sure it's not going to be great.
And what I have found very interesting with all of my clients, including myself, if you lived in your country, you could probably still eat all of those things. But coming to America and eating the way we eat here really, really screws up our guts.
Correct.
And that's the sad part, because I'm 100% German.
Yeah.
And I think if I lived in Germany, I could eat sauerkraut and but I can't.
Right.
My stomach doesn't allow it. And I think it's the Americanization of our guts that make it so hard for us to be able to eat those traditional foods.
Absolutely. I mean, because where do you get the chickpeas? The chickpeas are usually come from a can. And if you get the can that is an American-made can or whatever it is, and where do you get the tahini? So it's the ingredients that you really put in there and how clean the food is.
All the glyphosate that we use here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate people that love certain foods, and I asked for you to take them out for a while, and you did a really amazing job. Kudos to you, because that is the hardest part, because you have this affinity to not just the food, but to the culture and the
Right.
feelings behind it. That's the hardest part. But if you can get your brain to be like, okay, let's just try it, and you did an amazing job. I think too that as a cyclist, you have to embrace something other than your traditional carbs. And so that
Right.
was even like one step more for you. So I think you did a really good job. Most of the people, if they're not an endurance athlete, I can just say, just cut your carbs out for a minute and
Right.
then bring them back in. So
No, I also cut alcohol out
yes, that's huge.
completely. I mean, I have had, a glass of scotch once or twice since, but I completely cut out. And I love my red wine. I love a nice glass of scotch after a stressful day. And that was maybe the hardest thing to cut out.
Okay. And then how do you feel now about alcohol?
I went out with friends last week, and we figured everybody's ordering a drink. I wanted to order a drink. I ordered a glass of wine. I had 2 sips of it, and it was sitting on the table.
Really?
Yeah.
Would that surprise you too?
It completely shocked me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think it was a mental thing, or do you just physically didn't want it?
I didn't want it. I still like scotch.
Okay, that's all right.
That I've had a glass of scotch on a different occasion. It was delicious, but yeah.
Good.
But I used to drink a glass of scotch or wine every day. I come home, I would have it, 1 or 2. So it was hard to cut out, but now it's just, I don't even think about it a lot of times when things are happening or whatever it is. During special occasions, you can still have a glass of something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And now that your family's gotten used to your diet, are they no longer making fun of you? Are they encouraging you, or are they just neutral?
Not only they're not making fun of me anymore, they adapted to some of the stuff that I do. The rice, at first it was a joke. How are you going to eat? How are you going to eat rice? What are you going to do? I eat only rice. Now my wife loves the rice.
Great.
If I don't bring the scale to the table, my wife would go and bring it over.
I love that.
Yeah, they don't mind me. going to restaurants also is difficult.
Yes, always. Yeah.
And asking the waiters to tell you, or go in the back and ask, how many ounces is this, whatever it is.
Yep.
And my wife does it for me.
Good.
She asked the waiter in a nice way, can you go in the back and ask how much, what are the ounces, or how many cups of rice do you serve in a serving? And yeah, so going to restaurants is difficult because they make the food with sauces and they make the food with onions. And I mean, onion is one of my number one enemies.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so asking them to leave stuff out, or, me scraping it off, whatever it is. But it's very easy to go to a restaurant that has a steak and order a steak.
Yes. I also find that I don't get as much enjoyment going out anymore.
Right.
I enjoy going out for a coffee
Mm-hmm.
or something like that, but sitting down and eating food, I just don't feel like it's as good as I make at home,
Right.
So it does cut down on the going out bill.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Right. It does cut on going out. It does cut out on DoorDash.
Yeah. Okay.
My wife is a very good cook. So, I mean, we love cooking at home. When I'm from Chicago, so when it gets warmer outside, I actually grill all year round.
Okay.
But when it doesn't snow, I grill. So
that's good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And in Chicago, everyth's expensive. So you're really saving like a lot of money.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Right.
Good.
Right. And now that if we want to order in, we opt to actually go to the restaurant because the food is fresher there and you can tell the waiter how you want it and how you like it.
So is that eliminated all door dashing for you?
Not all, but a lot less.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
I've never used any of those services before.
Oh, really?
Everybody thinks I'm a weirdo, but yeah. I mean, I can see why it's just like ordering a pizza back in the day,
right?
It's great. You just order everything.
Right.
Yep.
No, it's great. DoorDash is a great service, but you got to know what to order and from where and all that.
Yeah. So we've been working with each other for 4 months now.
Yeah, something like that.
What, where are we in your goal setting? Have we gotten through to obviously feeling good on the bike, having power on the bike,
mm-hmm.
losing some weight,
yes.
losing inches, I should say,
right.
inches, not
mm-hmm.
not necessarily weight.
Right.
And then we haven't done any testing yet to make sure to see if the NAFLD or if you've got any kind of kidney issues or anything like that. So we need to see those numbers.
Right.
But I'm excited to see those because I think we're going to see some good movement.
I hope so.
Like that?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, definitely power on the bike is improved tremendously. I feel, and I feel good. I mean, the general feeling is good. At my age, it's a little harder to start to lose weight or inches, but I am feeling that I am losing the inches slowly, but I can see it. I don't have a gut, and I definitely do not really need to lose weight.
Right.
But I'd like to lose that extra fat.
Right. And NAFLD is the visceral fat that we want to lose.
Correct.
So you see a lot of people that look very lean, but they may have a lot of visceral fat.
Yes.
And so that's always what we've been fighting, men and women over the age of 50. That's where it goes, right?
Right.
So I'm anxious to see what your tests look like because I think that they've definitely moved the needle for sure.
I'm very anxious to see that, and I'd like to see where I'm at. The other thing that was scary at the beginning is the amount of meat that you were telling me to eat.
Yes.
Because all the studies or the majority of the studies that are out there,
right,
are anti-meat,
yes.
Similar to the way that they used to be like anti-eggs and cholesterol. In my family, there's high cholesterol running in my family. So when I did the test, the blood tests with you, my cholesterol is around, I think, 220.
Yeah, which was fine.
Yeah.
Great.
And you tell me it's fine. And at first, my brain was not able to wrap around that. How could 220 be fine if the doctors tell you to keep it at 160?
Right, but 25 years ago, they said under 300 is okay.
Yeah.
They want to sell statins. And I
Right.
get it.
Yeah.
The problem is so many correlation studies are not causation.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of correlation on, if you live in Loma Linda, and you're a vegetarian, you live longer. Well, that's all correlation. And they ask these questionnaires like, how much meat did you eat last year?
Yeah.
Do you know how much meat you ate last week, let alone last year, right?
Correct.
And so I think the problem is there's so few clinical studies, double-blind studies on how important protein is for people as we age. I mean,
Right.
younger, you can eat as much as you want whenever you want and you're
Sure.
fine, but our bodies slow down. They don't understand how our cells don't know what to do with certain amounts of protein. So you have to hit this threshold.
Mhm.
And so when we started working together, you got to hit the threshold.
Right.
And people think that's kind of an arbitrary, dumb thing. But in reality, your body knows. And so you hit that 40, 50 grams and then you see the results.
Correct.
And where people would, when we first started working together, I'd have to watch and make sure that you hit it every time. Because
Yeah.
you'd hit it one meal and then the next meal you wouldn't hit it, or the next meal you wouldn't
Right.
hit it. And it's like your body has to make that protein synthesis 3 times a day, 4 times a day, however many times a day you want
Sure.
to eat. And I think, like you said, it's kind of an eye opener. Like, oh, I'm not supposed to eat this much meat.
Right. And it's not only, it's me and then my family is like, you're eating so much meat, you're eating all that meat. I balance it very well with fish.
Yeah, you do.
And
Much more than I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's great.
And I like that because, as you told me, I cut out the fish oil supplement.
Yes.
So, and I still feel the fish oil supplement is important to me. Not the supplement, but the fish, the benefit of the fish.
Correct.
Is very important, especially for recovery after riding and all that. And which is, so that's why I supplement it with a lot of fish.
Fish is great. Shellfish is great.
Yeah.
Again, the DHA is very important, but I tell everybody stop taking fish oil supplements because they're rancid.
Mhm.
And you're just adding to the polyunsaturated fats in your body.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. I think what happens is they've been pushed on us so much, and nobody does the research on the pill.
Yeah.
They do the research on the fish. The
Right.
fish looks great, right?
Correct.
But then they put in a pill, it's not the same.
Yeah. So, and that's what we do. So being Jewish and from Israel, I did not eat shellfish I never ate shellfish. I've ate some, I've tried it in the past, but I never really ate shellfish. But my wife, she used to eat shellfish. And when we met, we reconnected and we got married, and she stopped eating shellfish for me. And then as we got closer to 50, she told me, I miss shellfish. I want to go back to eating shellfish. So when I'm 50, I'm going to eat shellfish.
Okay.
And I said, you know what? When I'm 50, I'll join you. So it's been a very short period of time that I've been eating shellfish, but ever since we started working together, I've upped my intake of mainly shrimp.
Okay. And you're enjoying it?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. And your wife?
Oh, she loves it.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
And again, those are the kinds of things that, you can only get from the sea.
Right.
So I love that you embraced the change and that your family embraced it.
Yeah.
And you're getting better and faster on the bike.
Right.
Well, it can just go up from here, I think, is my thought. Is there anything else that you learned that was a surprise or?
Again, it's what was the surprise is the changes in the food, so should I have at a restaurant potato or some other type of rice if it's wild rice, and or should, because I'm on the road a lot.
Yes, you are.
I drive a ton, and a lot of times I don't have time to stop and eat a real meal. So what do we do? Where do you stop and eat? And what surprised me was you telling me to go and have a burger at, McDonald's or something like that.
Absolutely. It's beef.
It's beef.
Right.
Right. And I used to do that, but I always had guilty feelings.
Yeah.
And I still have some, and I still do not do that often. But yeah, what do you do when you are on the road?
I do the same thing. We go to Five Guys,
Yeah.
you know, Culver's,
Yeah, right.
anywhere you can find a burger. Because again, I'm the same thing with you. I don't eat pork or chicken.
Right.
And so beef's always safe. No matter how poorly it's raised, it's still good.
Yeah.
Any ruminant animal is good. So lamb, I love lamb and things like that. So, but yeah, you're always in the car.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that too, that you can, that you've been able to be flexible enough to be able to figure that out and eat on the road.
Right. And the other thing that, you know, I've worked with other nutritionists in the past, and the one thing that you are always told, especially as an athlete, is have a few meals. You know, have your breakfast, have a snack, have a lunch, and you said just have 3 meals a day, which made it very easy, a lot easier for me, because I'm on the road. As an attorney, I'm in court during the day, during the morning time. And in the past, I always said, what am I going to do between my breakfast and lunch? How am I going to take in additional calories to sustain me throughout the day? And I always had to carry either a shake or a bar or something, which, you know, especially the bars, they have like bad stuff in them.
Yeah.
And when I started working with you and you said 3 meals a day, I said, I'm going to be starving. But I'm not, because I eat enough for breakfast to fuel me for lunch, even though I have a very rigorous workout in the morning.
Yeah.
I do a, you know, pre-workout meal, breakfast, and then lunch, and then dinner.
And that's perfect.
I don't snack.
I don't want anybody to. You shouldn't. We weren't built to snack. You know. You look at our ancestors, and we didn't eat 5 meals a day. You ate when you could get your food, right? When you could trap it and kill it. So if you eat enough food at breakfast, you should not be hungry till lunch.
Right.
And if you are, then that means you need a whole other meal. So I tell people, no snacking, just meals.
Right.
So if you need 4 meals, eat 4 meals. Because, you know, on a day that you get up really early and you're up really late and you've got a long schedule, you could eat 4 or even 5 meals.
Sure.
But that's what your body needs at that time.
Right.
And snacking makes me crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't snack, and we actually reduced the number of snacks at my house because of that.
Okay.
I never snacked before, but now my wife doesn't snack as much.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. And you have 2 girls. Do they snack still?
I have 2. No, I have a girl and 2 boys.
Oh, and 2 boys. Okay.
Yeah, but my oldest is not at home, and I'm sure he snacks a little bit. My daughter still snacks, but we're working on it. My son lives in college, so I'm sure he snacks.
Okay. So your daughter's the one at home. That's why I thought you had. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's great. You look amazing. This is the first time I got to see you physically instead of via Zoom.
Right, with my fresh beard.
I love it. I love it. And we're in Arizona where it's beautiful and sunny. So thanks so much for having this interview with me. And I look forward to more improvements with you.
Same here. It's great.
Thank you.
Thank you.